Listen to the station.
Or you get off there.
Make sure the price of tuition keeps going up.
Forget their death. And alternative.
News talk.
I want to go ahead and get started. My name is Dan Krasner. I'm the Executive Director of Integrity Florida. Integrity Florida is a nonprofit, nonpartisan research institute, and our mission is to promote integrity in government and expose public corruption. Today, Integrity Florida released a research report titled Corruption Risk Report, Enterprise Florida. How transparent and effective is Florida's economic development organization? That's the question we're trying to address. In our review, we did not take a position on about whether tax incentives are good or bad. This report examines Enterprise Florida's commitment to public access to information, accountability, performance metrics, and transparency. Here's what we found. Enterprise Florida's most recent legislative agenda prioritized confidentiality measures. Corporate seats on the Enterprise Florida Board of Directors are for sale for $50,000 investments each year. Enterprise Florida board member companies receive Enterprise Florida tax incentives. Enterprise Florida board member companies serve as Enterprise Florida vendors, including a lobbying firm. Enterprise Florida does not publicly notice all of their board meetings. They'll tell you where they're going to be for a series of days. But for example, they're going to have a reception 2 weeks from tonight in Jacksonville at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and that hasn't been publicly noticed. Enterprise Florida board meeting and committee materials are not online. Unlike our Florida legislature that's more transparent, offering agendas, minutes, streaming video, it's hard to know what Enterprise Florida is doing because their agenda materials and minutes are not online. The very company that Enterprise Florida cites as the source of their return on investment calculations to determine if these incentives are working is also a recipient of tax incentives. And so what we know from last year, from the last year's fiscal budget, Enterprise Florida awarded nearly $6 million in 2011 to confidential companies. They have about 300 more projects in the works with various code names. Integrity Florida is working to find out more about these secret taxpayer-funded projects. And lastly, Enterprise Florida granted incentives awards, quote, not in a targeted industry. They have a strategy of targeted industries, and only one company qualified for those incentives, and that was Walmart. Integrity Florida recommends 7 things. 1, increase public access to information. 2, prioritize new job creation. 3, implement an independent return on investment calculator. 4, close the public records loopholes. 5, focus on the target industry strategy. 6, build an online database of all state and local tax incentives so the public can follow their money, know how much projects are being funded, know what industries, know the promise of new job creation, and know when those jobs are going to be here. And 7, let's add accountability clauses to all contracts to protect taxpayers. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What do you mean by corporate seats going for $50,000? Can you explain that? What exactly is going on?
Integrity Florida is working to learn more about this. We participated in the executive committee call of Enterprise Florida in April, and that was the discussion on that call by the 12 members of the executive committee. Another secretive group, a super committee essentially of Enterprise Florida, that talked about this reception coming up in Jacksonville. Let's invite corporate executives to come, and if they're willing to invest $50,000, we'll consider them for the board of directors.
What can you say about some of the names given to these projects? Why those names are being given to these projects, and does it make your request for public information tougher? Project Snake Eyes, Project Mae West, some of these have been reported.
Well, Integrity Florida has an active public records request, and we've asked Enterprise Florida to release details to us and the public about Project Snake Eyes, Project Bacon, Project Mae West, Project Sweet Spot, and perhaps other secret project code names. we don't want to hurt the deals, we don't want to hurt the jobs, we need the jobs. But it's important the public knows if our government is committing our tax dollars and going under contract, even if it's with Project Bacon, we don't have to know the company name, but we need to know how much of our money is going to be spent, how much are we on the hook for. We need to know how many jobs is that company, that secret company going to create, and by when. We ought to tell the public where our money's going and when the jobs are going to be here. And there are more than 800,000 out-of-work Floridians, and they need a job now. At the current rate, Enterprise Florida's, on the call that I participated in, Enterprise Florida set a jobs retained or created goal for the last year of 20,000. At that rate, it would take more than 42 years, or about 42 years, for all out-of-work Floridians to find a job. Let me just repeat that again, because we have more than 800,000 out-of-work Floridians. And it would take nearly 42 years to put all those Floridians back to work at the current jobs goal of Enterprise Florida.
I have a question about the part about the company that received incentives and is also in charge of the ROI. Can you talk about maybe why that's a problem and maybe a little bit more about that?
So Integrity Florida agrees with Governor Scott that return on investment for taxpayer money is important. But who does the calculations is also important. The taxpayers expect a certain degree of independence. And the company that's calculating the return on investment of our tax dollars, Ernst & Young, they received nearly $100,000 in tax incentives themselves last year. And that's the company and the research that Secretary Swope and Enterprise Florida are citing to convince taxpayers that we're getting a good deal. So Integrity Florida would like to see an independent organization not receiving those tax incentives do the return on investment calculation for Enterprise Florida and for our state. And the bulk of the concerns we raised in this report, the bulk of the concerns Integrity Florida has, we met with Secretary Swope and the Enterprise Florida team directly. We shared our concerns, the bulk of the concerns that are in this report. We asked Enterprise Florida directly, sitting at the table with Secretary Swope, please put your agendas online, put your minutes online, let the public follow the activity of this very important function of government. And again, we're not saying that tax incentives are good or bad. We just want to follow the money, and we just want to know when the jobs are going to be here. And the Secretary is going to look into potentially putting the agendas online. The next board meeting of Enterprise Florida is 2 weeks from today, or 2 weeks from tomorrow, in Jacksonville. And hopefully between now and then we'll get to see the agenda.
So Greg Swope seems receptive to your suggestion?
Here's the good news. Secretary Swope and his team at Enterprise Florida and DEO assured us that they already have a program in the works that's going to launch in July to put more incentives information online. And we applaud that direction towards more transparency. And if there's a way to fast track that for taxpayers, that'd be great. We look forward to Secretary Swope and a good team at Enterprise Florida and DEO compiling that data. We look forward to seeing that website and working with them to make it even better if it's missing local incentives or other information that's important for taxpayers.
Dan, do you have any concerns that through your calls for transparency on these projects that you may be actually working in the detriment to the state of Florida, being that you might scare off corporations, that if companies know if they come to Florida and they have to disclose all this immediately, then they may not want to come here?
Enterprise Florida is most likely scaring off capital and jobs by giving incentives to their board members.
Could you elaborate, got the only company Enterprise Florida granted incentive portion that was not in the targeted industries was Walmart. Why is that significant? What's the point you're making there?
The point there is Enterprise Florida has a strategy to focus on targeted industries, and you'll see in the report, targeted industries also means higher paying jobs. It means strategies to diversify Florida's economy. And so the organization strayed from its own stated strategy, and they've done it repeatedly over the years. Walmart has received more than $18 million from state government over the years, and at the local government level in Florida, significantly more. So it stood out as an outlier. It's only one company was not on strategy, and we question why that is. And I'd just like to say, these practices, many of these practices have been going on for a number of years. Secretary Swope, Governor Scott are still new in their roles, there's still time to fix this. Integrity